Check one, two, three. Hey everybody, it's Michael Helms, also known as Michael the Sound Guy, and this is the Location Sound Podcast. You know, each episode we talk with location sound mixers, boom ops, and other industry pros about the various aspects of recording sound on location, whether it's for feature and independent films, TV commercials, interviews, any time where dialogue from actors is recorded. I started my career in the recording studios in New York City with some of the big artists back in the day, and later on projects for networks like HBO, Sci-Fi Channel, and the Cartoon Network. As time went by, I got out of the studio and began working in production sound. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, thanks for joining us. Today we're talking with Kally Williams, freelance location sound mixer based out of Los Angeles, California. Welcome, Kally.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
We always like to jump right in and ask, what is in your audio bag?
Which one, if you're asking about?
Well, you've got a small bag and a larger bag, right?
Yes, a small one and a cuter one, basically.
I'd go with the small bag first, and it's just basically a rundown of what mics you're using, your mixer, your power distribution, and everything in between.
Yes. In the main bag, I use the Sound Devices 633 paired with the Lectrosonics SRCs, and those are going to Sanken COS 11s at the moment, and have a little shotgun collection right now with the Schoeps CMIT 5U and the DPA 4017. So, and Tentacle Sync for timecode right now. And, you know, I'm just sending audio out with the cheap Sennheiser G3s, but they're fine for that. And the power distribution is audio route. And the smaller one is the cutie pie, the MixPre-6.
Our good friend, as we tried to use it as an audio interface tonight.
Right. Which, you know, I did not know that you could power it from the computer, so I did learn something.
Yeah, it's got some nice features and stuff. I've been using it for podcasting as well, and it works great. So I've been real pleased with it. So, Kally, what are some of the main audio gigs you do?
The main things, you know, just include a lot of interviews, actually, documentary style type stuff, and right now just a bunch of run and gun stuff, and yeah, I would like to do more scripted work, and occasionally I get to do so, but right now it's just kind of full of that, like, one-man band type interview style.
What was your worst on-set experience?
The worst part is just when, you know, you go past, like, 13 hours, and then you're still there, and you're like, wait, but are you guys doing overtime? No? Okay, well, you know, I don't like sound enough to do it for free, so, you know, that's always my thing.
Well, what do you do in that situation?
Well, you know, you don't want to be that one person that's like ruining it, but at the same time, you don't want to be just giving in to something, because no project is worth that. I mean, unless they're paying you like double time or whatever. But at this, you know, the non-union world, nothing, you know. And that being said, there are a lot of non-union shoots that do pay overtime, but in particular cases, you know, there's not. And I guess that's just something where you have to go to the producer or whatever and say, hey, there's overtime, right? Make sure there is, and that you're going to invoice that, because at the end of the day, you don't want to work long hours, especially for like just a rate that's been given for something else.
Do your clients, you had mentioned that you use Tentacle Sync for your timecode box. Do your clients, do most of them prefer to go direct to camera, or are they using second system sound?
Yeah, I mean, I do the camera hop, but that's just for reference. Like, nobody better use that. Like, I hope that they are downloading my files using those. You know, I'm just always that person that says, okay, but it won't sound as good, because, you know, it's going to be sent over a wireless thing. Like, it's not going to sound as good. Well, I guess you could do a direct plug-in, but still, it's coming to a camera. It's never going to sound as good, but sometimes that's what people want, and you just got to provide it.
Yeah, we're hearing all the little problems that are going, no, it sounds good.
Right.
So.
Like, okay, I mean, but please still download the SD card, you know, it's like.
What expendables do you like to use on set? Do you use any like the Rycote undercover overcovers or anything like that?
Yes, for like the lav mounts, or actually, you know, for wind protection, the Maker Bubblebee actually has some really good little covers. And that's what I particularly use for like when it's windy and all that.
Okay. I haven't tried the Bumblebee, but I'd been using the Rycoats, and I was just curious.
They're both good, but a friend just was like, hey, test this out. And I was like, okay. It was probably like a few months before, and then I was on the beach, and I was like, I'm going to finally try that out. And then like it sounded great. So I was like, I'll get some more of these. Okay.
So if we had some of our listeners were trying to get started in the audio industry, what kind of tips would you give them?
Basically, if you got to learn it first. And I first actually started learning by like volunteering for projects. So that was just, getting to be with the gear, and you're free to make mistakes, if you're volunteering. So that was just a good way to learn. And especially if you find people to help mentor you, that's even better, because then you kind of learn it the right way instead of just learning, oh, well, that didn't sound good. Okay, I know what not to do. I think for starting mixers today, this is a good time to start, because there's kind of like very affordable, decent little mixers out there, like the Sound Devices MixPre. Like, those are pretty affordable if you're just getting started, and I'm kind of jealous of that. But had to get the 633, so I'm never will regret that. But definitely, if I were joining the business today, I would definitely go out and get one.
Now, is there any advice to women that are getting involved? I know it's, traditionally it's kind of been a man's world when it came to audio recording. What were some of the issues that you had to deal with?
I think in today's world, it's definitely more of an advantage, because it's still kind of rare. And I see that it's kind of in demand for female mixers and sound people, because there's still not many of them. And so it's actually a good time right now to just hop in. And as long as you have the passion to do it, you should be able to just go as far as you can.
That's good. Any specific tips that you think you could pass on that they might go, that could really help?
I don't think there's anything specifically tips just because they're female as well. I just think that it's a good time to try to get into it. Like, it's just a request. Like, definitely learn how to mic up people and that type of thing. Like, get good with that.
What kind of problems do you kind of see over and over again, say from like newbies just starting out, some rookies?
Well, I don't know, but it definitely takes a while to get good at it. And because I, it definitely took 2 years before I would hire me. But, you still got to fake it. And one thing is definitely to watch the levels, because it can easily be under record, and you definitely don't want to like over record it. So that's the thing. But really, I guess my thing is just always, there's a thing where it's always like waiting on sound, but don't be that person that they're waiting on. Like, because then the time that they do, you'll be like, oh, well, you gave camera like 30 minutes to set up. I can't have 1 minute because, of this. Yeah, so don't be the person they're waiting on. But obviously sometimes you have to be, but.
Right. And what was the most interesting audio project you've worked on before?
I mean, I think that they're all interesting, but I guess what makes some sets more interesting than others is that I have a twin sister who is a DP, and so sometimes we work together, and, that's always fun and I guess confusing for other people since we look somewhat alike. And, that doesn't really necessarily have anything to do for sound, but for me, that's just always interesting and fun.
People are always getting you confused and calling you your sister and your sister you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just a thing, could be sitting at the sound thing and they'll still kind of get confused, or with the headphones on. Like, I think that's pretty obvious, but, it's always just fun to interact with people, I guess.
Okay, so I've seen some YouTube videos of you and your sister being crazy. So how did all that get started?
Just making videos in general is how we got into the film business, because originally from South Carolina, and so that's what we did over there. And when everybody was like, oh, well, what do you want to be when you grow up, or whatever, and then it's just like one of those things. Well, we kind of like making videos, and we just found a way to actually make a career out of it, and here we are working in the film industry.
Did you ever show up at set and forget something? And then if you did, how did you deal with it? Something that was important.
Luckily I have not forgotten microphone yet, but I wouldn't recommend this, but one time back in the early days, I had the 633 and somehow I didn't bring that little adapter on the headphones, because the 633 has the bigger plug-in. So it was just one of those things where it was just like, the levels look good. If I just put on headphones, nobody will probably know. And I don't recommend that, but I did. And it was like, yeah, recording sounds good. And I guess it did sound good enough, but it's one of those things where you like tell the producer or director and they're going to be like, what? You can't hear it? But, just kind of went for it and it sounded fine. But that being said, everybody should keep a spare adapter if they do have that.
I saw the Sound Devices article. That was a great article. How did that come about?
I went to NAB and they were like, oh, well, we should do an article on you. So, it was kind of simple. And then a few months later, it all happened. So
that's awesome. You did upgrade to, what was it, a 688? What was it?
No, I think in that article I was talking about either getting or renting a 688 because I was going to mix the feature, but the feature didn't go on, fun fact. So never ended up going, and truthfully I could probably just use the 633 for any feature unless they needed more channels. You're
primarily freelance, right?
Yes, totally.
Do you have any for our listeners? Do you have any like freelance tips on how they can help improve their freelance work?
Yeah, well, there's just times in freelance where everybody's going to be like, oh, nobody's calling, I should probably work, those type of things. But you just got to make as many contacts as you can. Like anybody could know somebody. You never know. Like, sometimes when you're like, how did I get this job? You trace it back. Oh, because I knew this person who knew that person who recommended me to that person. Like you just never know where it's going to come from. So just going to networking events. And even in LA, there's a lot of events where the sound people kind of come together because it's a little tight community. So just reaching out and meeting new mixers and working with them.
Do you use any of the services like Production Hub or Staff Me Up or anything like that?
Luckily, I haven't really had to use any of those. So far doing good, just staying busy from like, I guess, social media is a big thing these days. And someone could just see your work on there and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to hire that person. It's kind of a good time to be freelance, just as much as it's a good time to be like a lady in the industry.
With social media, do people actually track you down on, say, Instagram and stuff, and then you end up getting a job from it?
Yes, I believe a few jobs have came from Instagram. So,
well, this is great. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to kind of talk with us today. Anything specific when it comes to location sound recording? Any final advice you'd give to somebody that maybe was going to start off in the industry?
I think, especially if you want to be like a mixer just starting out, it definitely helps to have your own gear. It doesn't have to be the top stuff, but just like being able to come with it is one thing. And especially in LA, like we have a community of sound people, and I'm pretty sure in all the big cities there's something similar. So just getting in with the people that do what you do is a nice way to do it. Because I think in the sound world, we're not really as competitive as some of the other departments. It's one thing where we're like, oh yeah, you got that job, or just actually supporting each other. And it's just a nice like little family to be a part of. So I totally recommend it. I think not enough people know how cool sound is. So, we should bring it up to being the coolest department.
That's true. It is the coolest department.
It is, but at the same time, I like that not everybody knows that, because that's why it kind of stays the coolest department. But, it's interesting to see where everybody will be in the future.
So if people wanted to get in touch with you, maybe to hire you when they're out in LA, what's the best way?
Email, social media, really anything.
Okay. I just want to thank Kally for being with us today. This is Kally Williams. She's out in Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are out there and you need some location sound, she is the one to call. Thanks, Kally.
Yeah, no problem.
And a big thanks to all of our listeners out there. If you'd like us to discuss a particular topic, please send us an email at locationsoundpodcast@gmail.com. We would love for you to subscribe and leave us a comment. We're available on Apple Podcasts and iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and on your favorite podcast app. Until next time, remember, sound is half the picture.